What Sooner Nation? I am Casey Mallon, and you are now and still and always in a Sooner state of mind. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon Music. Well, now baby used to stay all night long, made me cry. Lord, she done me wrong. Hurt my eyes open, and that's no lie. Tables turning. Now it's her turn to cry. 'Cause I used to love her, but it's all over now. Sooner state of mind, family. How we feeling? Yeah, not so good, right? You know, the finality of it. When you've been looking so forward to something for so long, and you get to it, and it starts so incredibly awesome, and then it crumbles. Brutal. What is that going on there? Working with some AI background keeping me at the stadium. It doesn't look the best, but we're going to roll with it. Sooners get beat by the Crimson Tide 34-24 in the opening round of the college football playoff. And you could not have asked for a better start for these Sooners. Up 17-0. That makes the ending even more brutal. Watch that thing slip away. Lots of good in this game. Also lots of bad. Not a ton of bad, but enough to cost us. First quarter. OU up early. 7-0. And driving. Personal foul. An EPL. Not necessarily ticky-tack. Didn't need to have it. I don't mind our linemen being grimy and fighting to the end, but that personal foul turned a 3rd and 3 into a 3rd and 18. Had to settle for 3. Maybe we scored a touchdown there, maybe not, but it was definitely a drive killer. Settle for the 51-yard field goal. And I think this is even more brutal. Second quarter, Sooners up 17-7, 3rd and 3 around midfield. Mateer avoids the blitz, spins out, launches it downfield, hits Xavier Robinson right in the hands. It's a drop. And that kind of felt like the muffed kick, or the squib kick against Georgia in the Rose Bowl a few years ago. Momentum, riding high, feeling great, and then something ill happens. That drop was brutal. Lots of back and forth on what Mateer should have done. And hindsight's, of course, always 2020. Going into the game, I think it was Holly Rowe asked BV, he's like, hey, he just needs to let it rip, which he did. And it was a good throw. He put it right on the receiver. He just dropped it. Now, knowing the outcome, it's easy to say he should have run. And he had yards there, so maybe he should have. And he would have picked up the first down and kept the drive going. So since it didn't work out, it's easy to say that. But either way, that play to me felt like when everything changed. And as a matter of fact, 2 plays later, Grayson Miller inexplicably drops the punt And just another catastrophic mistake at the worst possible time for these Sooners. And then dude thinks he still has time to punt the thing. He doesn't look up field or even try to avoid the pressure, just punts it right into that Bama defender's fat belly. Like, the play's blowed up, then you have to try to make something happen. You don't just, either way, defense holds. Bama to a field goal. So it's not as bad as it could have been, but it's still pretty bad. And now it's 17-10, and everybody's getting tight. And if you thought that was going to be it for catastrophic mistakes, hold my beer or coffee. Ensuing OU possession. Sooners driving at midfield. Just over a minute left in the first half. Mateer throws it out. Receiver runs up. And Brown takes it to the house. And Brown doesn't play for the Sooners. And 17-0 is now 17-17. And I hate when it happens, but I'd already thought about the following week, before this, when we started, I had to take a little break when we were kicking ass in this game just to calm myself down because I was freaking out. And just to watch it all slip away was just brutal. And I think in the second half, Bama's defense was the more physical unit. In the first half, I thought our O-line did incredibly well, keeping a nice, clean pocket. And Mateer had time all day to throw, and when he did, he was ripping it. On the day, 26 of 41, 307, 2 TDs, and one costly interception. I mean, it helped to get a little run game going with that. 55 yards on 33 carries. 1.7 per carry. That's been a problem all season long. Just no consistency with the run game. It shows flashes. X-Rob clearly was not healthy, and Blaylock had some good juice in this thing, and that guy is going to be an incredible running back moving forward. Had to flip to ESPN2 to hear the Sooners radio broadcast. I wish I would have done that earlier. But it gives you the sky cam, kind of the Madden view, which is a little disorienting, but overall not a bad thing. You can kind of see things develop a little better. So it was kind of cool, but I wish I would have done that sooner. Listen to Teddy Gabe and T-Row because, can't stand Herb Street. But even so, this was an exact inverse of the game in November in Tuscaloosa. In that game, we had a pick six. In this game, they had a pick six. In that game, we created a turnover on a punt. They recovered it. They received it, punch it out. We recover. Sooners take over. In this play, we had an error on a punt and fumbled it, and they took over. In Tuscaloosa, they missed a huge field goal. And in this game, we missed a couple. Critical one late. Would have cut that thing to one score. We absolutely Costanza'd this game, and not in a good way. Like I said, the two missed field goals, the bad punt, special teams have been one of our strengths all season long. And on Friday, it was anything but special. Like I said, Tate missed 2 field goals, the dropped punt. Once again, catastrophic mistakes at the worst time. And that's, unfortunately, it's kind of been a theme during the BV tenure so far. All fixable stuff, but you got to have your best play at the best time. The Sooners fought back in the second half. It wasn't going great, but Mateer hits Burks. We get it down to 3-point game, and we just cannot close. Officiating wasn't quite as terrible as the SEC officiating has been all season long, but the personal foul call on Wine when the Bama player pushed him into the other Bama player and said Bama player flopped like he was hit by a sniper. Terrible call. They should have talked about it, got an eye in the sky. It was not a personal foul. And then the blatant miss of the false start on Bama's right tackle on that big pass play to Horton. Just terrible. He starts a full second before the snap. I don't know how you miss it. And the officiating was not great, but it was not the reason the Sooners lost this game. But it sure as hell did not help them. But just brutal, man. And to put this thing, to be real with it, overall a great season. Most experts predicted OU wouldn't even win 8 games, more likely 6 and 6. And the Sooners exceeded all expectations, going on the Red November run against one of the most brutal schedules ever. And that's coming off having our starting quarterback break the thumb on his throwing hand. Looked like the season could be over then. He fought back. Maybe came back a little too early, but he fought back. And that was a theme, fighting back, that this team had. And all season long, this team found a way to get up off the mat. Toughness, never in question. Grit, never in question. Willingness to keep fighting, never in question. There was no quit in this team, and they played their tails off all season long. So just thoroughly impressed by the fight this team showed all season. They never gave up. That being said, it's so disappointing because it was all right there for the taking. And just a handful of mistakes in this game was the difference. I mean, I talked about how poor OU's run game was. We held Bama to 28 yards on 25 carries, 1.1 per. And like I keep harping on, the catastrophic mistakes over and over, and they seem to compound each other, making the results exponentially worse. Like I said, there's been a recurring theme with this team. But you know what? I am still ride or die with my Sooners, always and forever. And I'm just so proud of this team. And while they were indeed hard to kill, they eventually succumbed to their fate, which is even more brutal, as we did have a championship caliber defense. And even more brutal, your boy had Rose Bowl tickets and was gonna be in the house for the game against Indiana. And the way the bracket was set up, our Sooners wouldn't have to face Georgia or Ohio State until the championship game. Nice run being on the other side of that bracket, but clearly it was not meant to be. And it is funny remembering how Bama fan kept saying, "We outgained them. We should have won. We gave it away." They're pretty quiet about that now. And actually, post-game, Bama fan has been pretty classy for the most part. There are some outliers, but overall, pretty classy. Same can't be said for Texas, 2 S's, and Notre Dame fan, but that's to be expected. Notre Dame fan crying all these weeks later how they should have gotten in. And it is hilarious listening to Texas fan, 2 S's, flex on the Cheez-It Bowl. the number one ranked team going into the season, the best college quarterback to ever play the game, a $40 million roster, the best recruiting class ever, the best coach ever, and now they're flexing in the chicken and the biscuit bowl. Good for you, Horns, with the W. Good for you. For our Sooners, next up in about 2 weeks, transfer portal opens. And once that happens, we'll have a better idea of what 2026 is going to look like. There is a ton of young talent on this team. A ton of young talent coming in. But if they can keep most of those players that are already here, in my opinion, things are looking up for our Sooners. Future is bright. Doesn't feel bright right now, but I believe. There were some other way less meaningful games played this weekend. Miami Hurricanes at Texas A&M. And the Hurricanes win a barn burner 10-3. Canes had 60 yards offense in the first half, something crazy like that. Carson Beck on the day throws for 100 yards. And their kicker missed a few field goals as well. Got one in the third quarter. Texas A&M ties it up in the fourth quarter, and then about 2 minutes left. Malachi Toney, after the huge fumble that set up the field goal for A&M, gets the go-ahead touchdown. And the Hurricanes beat A&M 10-3, and they are moving on. And Texas fan out there, oh, the first time ever in the playoffs, the home team's lost. Yeah, there's only been home teams for 2 years. It's been a total of 6 games. Relax. Trying to find every thing they can talk about with that, even though their squad is going to the Triscuit Bowl. And then Saturday, as we expected, the late games were not good. Tulane at Ole Miss. And the Hate Lane train was running full speed. And Ole Miss dominated this game 41-10, as many predicted it would. Chambliss, great game, 23-29. They were all over this, 14-0 before you could blink. And Tulane didn't find the end zone until the fourth quarter. Just steamrolling that green wave. Kewan Lacey had a couple nice runs, but Trinidad Chambliss was in total control of this game. And, I talked about it moving forward. Sooners don't go. It'd be kind of fun to see Ole Miss make some noise, especially without Kiffin there. Wouldn't that just be hilarious? I think it's kind of funny if they went ahead and did it all without him. That would be funny. Lane did him dirty, so it'd be nice to see that go the other way. And then in the nightcap, the James Madison Dukes head up to Oregon. And Oregon steamrolls James Madison 51-34. This game was actually 48-20 going into the fourth quarter. I was like, how the hell did James Madison score that many points? A couple of interceptions by Dante Moore, but 19-27, 4 touchdowns. This was never a game. Oregon looked good. Oregon looked really good and unstoppable on offense. And then James Madison got some points late, but they were able to move the ball. Had to settle for a couple field goals early on, so maybe it could have been a little different, but not so. Really, not so. So that does mean, though, we have some pretty rocking games coming up. It's going to be Oregon at Texas Tech at the Orange Bowl. Oregon's a 1.5 favorite in that one. Interesting. At the Rose Bowl, Alabama, Indiana, Hoosiers are 7-point favorites. Still a bitter pill to swallow, especially because I was going to the game right in my backyard. Ole Miss Georgia rematch. Georgia's 7-point favorites in that one. That was a pretty sweet game. We'll see if anything's changed. Ole Miss was leading that game for the most part and kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter. And then the Cotton Bowl, Miami versus Ohio State. Ohio State are 10-point favorites in that one. We'll see if any of these lines change as we get a little closer to game time. But that Oregon Texas Tech looks pretty sexy, and as well as that Ole Miss and Georgia. Ole Miss and Oregon move on pretty easily. And then looking back at this thing, not to include Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, BYU, or even Texas, 2 S's for the Power 5 is not powerful. And I'm not being a prisoner to the moment, and it's definitely not results based, but better teams were excluded from these playoffs due to the rules. And I know rules is rules. You can't just change it when you don't like it, but I believe they will change moving forward. And I believe we are on our way to a 16-team playoff. If the greedy greedsters can agree on a greedy way to distribute the massive greedy payday that will be coming their way very soon, which I think they will figure out a way to do. And season didn't end the way we wanted it to, but looking at how difficult that schedule was, just proud of the way the Sooners fought this year. And I do believe they are an ascending team. And we'll know soon how much of the core they keep in place there. And we will know what the future looks like sooner than later. But proud of the team, man. The way they fought was just incredible, especially against the odds so many times. And just, ran out of Sooner magic. Wasn't enough to sustain us for the season. But I believe good times are ahead. Head on over to Believe.com. That's BLEAV.com. Go to shows. Type in Sooner State of Mind. That is Sooner State of Mind right there. And you are locked, my friends. We have a ton of great content. Every team, every topic, everywhere. Believe.com. And if you're only listening to this podcast and you want to watch Sooner State of Mind, head on over to YouTube and search the Football Dudes. We are there. Like and subscribe. Let's get a dialogue going. Hit me up in the chatting. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon Music. Hey, Alexa, play Sooner State of Mind podcast. Oh, people, I did not want this thing to end, but here we are. Brutal. Just brutal. Even so, I want to wish everyone in Sooner State of Mind family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and brighter days are ahead. So get out there and love on your friends and family and enjoy the end of 2025, and we move on to the next one. My name is Casey Mallon, and I am in a Sooner state of mind.